Hey, it's Les from the TV Dudes. This week, I've been lucky enough to chat with actress, writer, and improviser Muretta Moss about her role in the Nickelodeon and Paramount Plus movie A Loud House Christmas, which premiered November 26th. Muretta also recently wrapped production on the dark comedy series Intersection, a passion project she co-created, wrote, and starred in. We chat about all of that, plus her podcast, Counter Parenting, and much more. Hope you enjoy. Hi, Muretta. Thank you so much for making time today. I really appreciate it.
Oh, of course. Thanks for having me on. Do I sound good? How do I sound? Good. Okay, great.
You sound great. You sound great. I've
Likewise.
thanks. I've had odd calls in the past where I've heard the exchange with the Uber driver, or people have walked away from their table and left their phone and the Bluetooth disconnects midway. It's all sorts of stuff has happened. So this is great. So this of course, you've got Loud House Christmas coming out. Can you tell me a little bit about that project, getting back into it, and how that went?
Sure. So A Loud House Christmas, it's like a live action holiday movie based on the Loud House cartoon, which is on Nickelodeon. It's an Emmy award winning animated series, and it's just super cute and super fun. So I'm really excited to play a real life version of the cartoon. I play the mom, read aloud, and I have 10 kids. So it's something else. Very easy to do in an animation, and then when you take it to real life, it's like, oh yeah, 10 kids, cool. It's super fun.
Well, I was going to ask, was that an odd translation from a voice you do at a booth to live act, to kind of taking it into real life, even just as the cartoon character?
Well, actually, I don't do the voice of Read Aloud. It's actually Jill Talley. She's a very talented, very well-known voiceover actress. And so for me, the direction that I was given from the director was, we're not cartoons. We are real people, just based off of the cartoon, the show. And I took that to heart. I'm not doing I'm not a cartoon, but I also did my best to speak as Read Aloud speaks, and because I want to pay homage to the cartoon, because it's just so well respected and popular. But Brian Stepanek, he actually does the dad in the cartoon, and he played the real life version. So that was exciting for him to be like, ooh, I don't know. I always just picture him stepping out of a TV, onto set. And I was just got to step on set, but really fun playing a cartoon character,
that seems to be such a neat challenge as an actor to, if you were replacing someone who had played this, like you said, this live action role in a previous version or something, that would be one thing to watch their performance. But you've got to find that line between broad comedy and straight up cartoon, and still make it yours. I would think that would be a really unique challenge, I would think, in among roles.
Yeah, it was a little heady in the beginning, but then I feel like, as most characters, at least I try for this to happen, they just kind of take over. And one of the reasons I was cast as it is because I am, I have a lot of the characteristics of the mom in the cartoon. And even the way I hold my hands sometimes, I don't even realize, I just already did it the same way the cartoon character did. So I was like, oh, yeah, okay, this is perfect. So it wasn't as difficult stepping into as it could be. And all of the characters are just so unique and well written that they stand on their own. And but I really, just because Jill Talley is just so incredible, I really want to make her proud.
And of course, I grew up with Saturday morning cartoons, and I realize that those have changed now. But you got to be part of a show that is so specifically nerdy. I just find it absolutely wonderful. The Inspectors. Can you talk a little bit about getting to be involved with that show and
Sure.
kind of doing kids
Yeah.
true, not exactly true, but kids crime solving through the mail. Just the entire thing. I was like, I would have watched the hell out of that as a kid. I would have absolutely watched that.
Yeah, I feel like I luckily kind of gravitate to some like really adorable kids shows, and The Inspectors is a CBS morning show. It did wrap up, I think, in 2020. But that show, I got to play a postal inspector. It teaches the kids about, crimes, like high crimes, but like with the U.S. Postal Service, and some crazy stuff happens that doesn't always make it to late night TV, but it's perfect for kids. And I mean, honestly, I have lots of nieces and nephews, and getting to play in a show that they watch and like and love is super fun. Like, I hadn't told my family about the Loud House movie, and I went over to my sister's house for a birthday party, and she goes, and they were watching the Loud House cartoon, and I was like, oh, just trying to get the details from my nephew of like, who do they like the best and all that. And then my sister's like, did you know they're making a live action version? And I was like, oh, yes, I do, because I am the mom. I think I broke their like grasp of reality for a moment, but it is so fun being able to play. I have two stepkids, and it's just for everyone to get to see it and love it.
You mentioned your stepkids. I know that you're doing a podcast about step parenting. I remember I think I got to be the lucky kid who was one of like the first two whose parents got divorced in grade school. And so we got pulled out of class and sent to the counselor's office for like special teach you how to navigate this time, which just made the whole thing weirder and worse for grade school. And they shouldn't do that. But I remember thinking not very long after that wow, it would have been a lot better if my parents had instead had something to sit down and listen to about how to handle this. And particularly, I think everybody kind of figured out step parenting at the same time somewhere in the 80s, for better or worse. And so the idea of there being a podcast, I immediately was like, that's a good use. Okay, true crime in that, we can do those.
Right. Stepping into becoming a step parent, because I don't have my own biological kids, was something that was like, oh, okay, watching how co-parenting takes place. But then from my perspective, as a step parent, it's challenging, and there's things that I wish I had known, and there's still things that I want to know, which is why I'm interviewing like just a series of experts and to help me like learn how to handle it better, because like you said, like you were one of the first, but I don't think that divorced parents like fully, I don't know if it gets, what am I trying to say? I don't want to say this is like a blanket statement, but like gets better. Like they still, it's hard for them. They're dealing with their own things. And even though the kids should be the focus, and like sometimes they're not, and it gets messy. And so, yeah, there should be some type of like classes that I think everyone should take after a divorce when kids are involved. But as a stepmom, it was particularly challenging, especially virtual schooling during the pandemic. I wasn't quite prepared for that.
I don't think anybody was quite prepared for that.
Oh my gosh. And it's not like stories of like things that have happened that shouldn't have. It's going to be like constructive and positive, and we're going to, try and find the joy that I like almost forgot during the first year of the pandemic. Yeah. I need it. So I'm excited to get that out for everyone to listen to. Yeah. Thanks.
And I know you write as well. I, I love that you have both gotten to write and be in your projects. Uh, like, for example, Intersection, which you're writing and starring in. Can you talk a little bit about that project and working on a dark comedy? Did you always intend to play a role in it? Uh,
Yes. So intersection was derived, like it spun out of some personal experiences I had as a real estate agent, and like just the way I'm based in Atlanta, and Atlanta has grown. Just some of the things that I encountered as a real estate agent and didn't realize I was contributing to, which was gentrification, and so. I had sold one of my friends, like two of my friends, a house in both predominantly Black areas, and we were like came back and talked about it, and like what was our impact that we didn't even know, and because they were two white girlfriends, and then this whole concept of like intersection, the show came to be, and we had two other female writers join us and just dissected it. So I did always know that I was going to play a real estate agent in the show. And it was very easy and fun in like a cringy way to write that role because it was based on so much real life experience, and honestly, like gentrification isn't funny, but we tried to find the humor in relationships, and I think it really works. I'm very excited for it. We were going to shoot in the beginning of 2020, and then the pandemic hit, and we were like, what is the right time? Like when? And just during 2020, we ended up rewriting the whole series because just like you can't forget what happened in 2020, and also like just the feel of how we socialize and like differently now because of the pandemic. So it's not about the pandemic, but but we were definitely all affected by it, and it affected our writing for worse. But I love writing, and it's something that you're a writer. It's just so, for me, it's just, I have so many ideas, but then like finishing them, I will sit 90% finished on a script for months.
I still think the worst moment is opening a sent PDF, like opening the attachment on a sent PDF and seeing a typo. And or just that there's moments where I'm like, it's this Zeno's paradox thing of like, can I ever get past 99.9% done on, like, is anything ever finished, or do typos sneak in when I save things, or what? It can just be so aggravating to try to feel fully finished. I know it bothers my friends who read stuff of like, what do you mean there's another draft? Like, there's always another draft. Quit sending me notes.
And there always has to be another draft. Like this, like nothing can ever be like fully finished. I think is like that we think is going to be the perfection and all be all. It's always a work in progress.
The great lesson of Star Wars: you can mess with everything forever.
Yes.
When it comes to writing and making something like Died, Highlighted, and Hopeful, and then trying to do intersect, did you find there to be huge shooting differences now post pandemic?
Yes, I mean huge. I mean, like I said, with Intersection, we had to just stall the whole thing, and then we kept thinking maybe now we can do it. But the way we socialized on set, there's just so many more resources involved. Making sure everyone's tested, the masks, the hand washing stations, and I mean even like shuttling people when shooting on location. Like we just had a lot of cars because we were scared. Now I think we understand it more, and but it's still in the height of it. I don't want to jeopardize anyone's safety or health for shooting something. And, we had Yeah. So, I mean, like Died, Highlighted, and Hopeful, that was such a dream and so much fun. It was such a great writing collaboration on that because we rewrote Intersection over Zoom, and that was extremely, like, I zoom out on Zoom. I don't know how everyone else can do it because it's like as soon as, yeah, I mean, people are taking classes on it and stuff. I mean, my attention span is gone now. Like, I'm going to be like, I just feel like I missed the connection. So writing on Died, Highlighted, and Hopeful, we just like sat in a coffee shop like a couple days a week in Hollywood, California. And like, it just like manifested. It just came out of just like loving friends and like great ideas. And it was basically just three of us on the cast, so that we had guest stars, but it was also much easier to coordinate when it was such a smaller cast, unlike Intersection. I mean, that just even casting that was so interesting because, you know, it was just the middle of pandemic, you know, you just asking for redirections and over tapes and stuff to make sure they're the right character. And, but it came together. I think that's the beauty of creating things. It all just comes together like magically, you know. I love that.
Yeah, I know I feel like we all kind of had a fear at the start of all of this that like, oh my gosh, we're just never going to figure out how to make another, or all of my shows just like gone now. And we've, like you said, it takes a lot more resources and you can't cram everybody into a compact car now and drive to set. But
no.
But we're figuring it out, and it's people still want to make these things. People still want to make art.
Yeah, and now it's kind of we're so adaptable. Now it's just like, oh yeah, you're going to be working. Yep, make sure you take your COVID test, like, and then here it is, and like wear your mask, and then we just because we want to still create, so it's much easier this year because it's just the way things are.
Well, we've got Loud House Christmas coming out November 26th, and folks can see it then on Paramount and Nickelodeon. And thank you so much for talking to me about it all today. I really appreciate it. I appreciate it. It was such a fun experience, and I hope everyone enjoys the holiday cheer from it. I'm sure they will. I'm looking forward to it. Thanks so much. Thanks, Liv. Thank you. TV Dudes is an independently run podcast out of Austin, Texas. We are exclusively listener supported. If you'd like to help us out, go to patreon.com/TVDudes. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TV Dudes. All the music for our show is done by our friend and original TV Dude, Gregory J. Amani Smith. To find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com. I'm Randy Lander. I'm Les Weiler. And I'm Kyle Scott. Thanks for listening.